Hi all, today I'll be dealing with the topic the impact of the French Revolution on England. The French Revolution had a profound influence on English society and literature. The revolution, which propagated the principles of equality, liberty, and fraternity, intoxicated the English. According to Arthur Crompton Rickett, it is possible to distinguish three phases of the French Revolution: the doctrinal phase, the age of Rousseau; the political phase, the age of Robespierre and Danton; the military phase, the age of Napoleon. These three phases enormously affected the Romantic movement in England. The first phase of the revolution, that is the doctrinal phase, was ideological. It was dominated by the philosopher Rousseau. His teachings and philosophical doctrines had huge impact all over England. Napoleon Bonaparte says, if there had been no Rousseau, the French Revolution would have been not occurred. His famous book, The Social Contract, which is considered as the Bible of the French Revolution, helped inspire political reforms and revolutions in Europe. In Social Contract, Rousseau observed, man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. Rousseau looked upon social institutions as shackles that hinder the free movement of man. He also gave the slogan, Return to Nature. Rousseau raised his powerful voice against social and political tyranny. He emphasized the importance of noble savage. Noble savage, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, is an idealized concept of an uncivilized man who symbolizes the innate goodness of one not exposed to the corrupting influences of civilization. Rousseau's primitivism, the belief that the beginning of the world is much better than the later stages of life, and individualism had influence on English thought and literature. The second phase of the revolution, the political phase, the age of Robespierre and Danton, began with the fall of Bastille prison. It signified the end of the old order of suppression and the birth of a new order. The third phase of the revolution, the military phase, was dominated by Napoleon Bonaparte. The promises that were made at the outbreak of the revolution in 1789 were not fulfilled. Eventually, the rise of Napoleon let loose a reign of terror. It led to the establishment of military despotism. English poetry was closely associated with the various stages of the revolution. The first phase of the revolution, the doctrinal phase, the age of Rousseau, deeply affected the Romantic poets. Rousseau's primitivism, individualism, and romantic imagination found expression in Romantic poetry. Arthur Crompton Rickett rightly observed, Rousseau's sentimental influence touched Blake, Wordsworth, and Coleridge. His intellectual influence, Godwin, and through Godwin, Shelley. The political phase of the revolution sent a wave of thrill to the Romantic poets. They began to express themselves in pulsating words. Wordsworth rightly recounted his enthrallment in The Prelude. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. But the third phase of the revolution, the political phase, altered the opinion of English poets. The reign of terror shocked Wordsworth and Coleridge. Only Lord Byron was inspired by the events of the time. The French events was also responsible for the writings of Edmund Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France and Thomas Paine's Rights of Man. Reflections on the Revolution in France was a political pamphlet published in 1790. It was written in condemnation of the revolution. Rights of Man was a reply to Burke. In Rights of Man, Thomas Paine upheld the view that people had the right to change any existing government if they were not safeguarding their natural rights. The English intelligentsia were very much affected by the revolution. The French events delighted the English radicals. They organized revolutionary societies on the French model. But when the revolution took a bloody turn, English opinion altered. There was disgust and alarm in England. The revolution and the subsequent wars affected British life in many ways. The wars caused a financial crisis. As a result, there was huge national debt. Taxes were increased, food became scarce, and there was inflation all around. To protect the farmers, the Corn Law was passed in 1816, forbidding the importation of corn. This, of course, helped the rich farmers, but the Corn Law hit the poor people the hardest since they had to pay more. The matters did not improve till 1832 when the first Reform Bill was passed.